I want you to triple your personal spending money. Unless, of course, you currently don't set aside any fun money just for you, in which case you should, and it should be a big honkin' amount. And if you're hearing that and you're like, well, this obviously isn't for me because I'm like such an impulsive spender, money just burns a hole in my pocket. No. This is especially for you. Because listen, I'm that kind of person. I'm the kind of person that when I get my personal fun money at the beginning of the month, I tend to have spent all of it within the first week. But this little experiment changed that for me. It changed how I think about my fun money and how I actually interact with it. And I think if you try this, it could do the same for you. Do I really need to like convince you to like give yourself more spending money? Like I'm throwing you a friggin' softball here. But before we get into all that, hi, I'm Ben with the YNAB team, and it's our conviction that if you want to stop worrying about money, the key is to get good with money. And this video is going to be giving you a very simple practice, almost like an experiment you can run that I think is going to help you actually get better with money. The origin of this little experiment is that I accidentally ran this on myself a few years ago. I had accepted a paying speaking gig for the first time in my life, and I got paid a few $100s, which was a very big deal for me. That was really exciting. And we decided that since this was like such a milestone for me, that all that money would just go straight into my fun money. And I had never had that amount of personal spending money before. And here's my encouragement. If you do this experiment, spend at least one day, maybe a few days, not actually spending it, just kind of luxuriate in it. Like, take a bit of time to think about the things that you could just buy. Because that's what stood out to me when I suddenly had a much bigger set of fun money, is looking at things that normally I go, oh my gosh, that would be cool, but that's so much money. And thinking, wait a second, I could just buy that. Give yourself some time to just acclimate to that feeling of like having so much freedom and agency, so much more than you had before, to just buy things you freaking want. And then just see what happens with your fun money spending. Because when I accidentally ran this experiment a few years ago, I had a very surprising turn of events. One of the things that I personally like to spend my splurge money on is board games, which is going to be no surprise to you if you saw my last video. And increasingly, I tend to be drawn to like these big, beautiful, like highly produced, sprawling board games that cost at least $100. In the middle of this unintentional experiment, I discovered Hostage Negotiator Career, which takes this little dice chucking game called Hostage Negotiator and turns it into this like sprawling, campy, like cop show campaign. Now, around the time I learned about Hostage Negotiator Career, it had gone out of stock absolutely everywhere. And there was just one guy on eBay who was selling the whole kit and caboodle for, I want to say, like $225 or something crazy. I'm a weird person. Okay. Like that was a compelling offer to me. And normally that's something where I'd have to like take some time and save up for, or like move money around or just say no. But like I had the fun money. I could just buy it. And I decided, you know what? This is something I want. I want to feel kind of bougie. Boom. And I ordered it. But then I put that transaction into YNAB. By the way, if you don't know what YNAB is, it is the app that pretty much single-handedly took me from being a flipping moron with money to being pretty friggin' good at money. And I could talk about that at length, but instead, I've dropped 4 reasons why I think you should give YNAB a try in the pinned comment below this video, so you can check that out if you want. But back to my story. I put the transaction into YNAB, and when you do that, YNAB shows you how much money you have set aside for that thing. When you enter the transaction, that money updates. And I could not get that transaction out of my head for the next few hours. And it led me to this strange realization that as much as I wanted that game, as much as I would still love to have that game, I actually liked the feeling of having a bunch of fun money more. And let me be crystal clear. This was not me going, it's kind of irresponsible for me to spend $250 on a board game. No, you know what I did spend that fun money on eventually? Cthulhu Wars, a game that cost me $400 because all of the pieces in it are like the size of a squirrel. My assumption when I got that fun money, and maybe your assumption as you think about this experiment, is you're just going to burn through that fun money even faster because it's like, oh, I have a lot of money. I can buy 5 lattes a day or whatever. And that honestly didn't happen because when I was just giving myself like $50 of fun money a month, it was kind of like, well, this is going to be gone pretty fast anyway. Might as well just spend it. But when I got this big dump of fun, I shouldn't say dump. When I got this big pile of fun money, all of a sudden my loss aversion kind of started to kick in. I didn't want all this money to disappear right away because I liked the feeling of looking around and being like, hey, I can buy a lot of things. Of course, like I don't want to sit on that feeling forever, but at the same time, it's kind of a fun one to just hang on to. I've spent way less of my fun money on the things I normally do, like getting a McDonald's sundae or grabbing some candy at the grocery store. I'm just like a child. I just like sweet. I like sugar. Okay. I've been viewing my personal spending money less as kind of this little allowance that I get to spend and more like this kind of magical boon that's been given to me that allows me to do things I could not normally do in the mortal realm. But for you, it might be totally different. Maybe for you, it is just the freedom to get a smoothie every day of the week if you want, or to go to a concert and spend too much money on drinks and merch. If that's you, then great. There are all kinds of experiments that people do with their money. Like one of the most popular ones is like the no spend challenge or like the cut back on this challenge. And it's interesting to me how many of those are based around like cutting back on something, restricting something, trying to like kind of rein yourself in. But honestly, I think that giving yourself a lot of freedom with your money is going to teach you things about yourself that you're just not going to learn from doing all the savings challenges. That may sound like an excuse to just spend a bunch of money on a bunch of fun stuff. And honestly, if it was, like, would you really be mad? So much of getting good with money is just learning what kind of person you are, what your habits are, what your preferences are, what actually works for you and what doesn't. So that's your assignment for the week. Give yourself a frick load of fun money and see what you do with it. Class dismissed.